Hello everyone, my name is Aaron, and welcome to the Resilient family. If you're here, you've committed to actually taking care of your body and not chasing quick fixes, but building something that actually lasts. This is where it starts. CARs, controlled articular rotations. This is the foundation of everything we do here. Simply put, they are small, controlled circles you make with your joint. Think of them like daily joint hygiene. Like brushing your teeth, but with your joints. This isn't standard stretching, but it's more than your typical warm-up. It's how you maintain your joint health, so your body keeps working long term. This is your morning routine. Simple, controlled, and daily. Now, before we start, every movement follows this same rule. Lightly contract your whole body to about 10 to 30%. And intention is to isolate the joint that we are working through space. You contract the whole body because no movement should be coming from anywhere else but the joint we're actually intentionally trying to isolate, moving through space. At your Mobility IQ session, we identified what got you here in the first place. The compensations, the imbalances, and the restrictions your body has been using up until this time. And you didn't get there because something was wrong with you. You got there because your nervous system doesn't care how a task gets done. Think of your daily life, work, school, routine, loss of sleep, family. It's the work-life balance, which I refer to as the load. Oh, meanwhile, you're on autopilot. Your body borrowed motion from wherever it could just to help it succeed. Till we pointed them out, those patterns were invisible. Now that you've seen them, the work becomes different. My job is to increase your capacity to handle that load. Increase your resilience, so whatever life throws at you, you are fit to adapt. We are not just adding new movements. We're unlearning old strategies that no longer serve you. That's why prerequisites matter. You wouldn't take calculus without taking algebra. You'd also not take an exam without studying. So why would you expect your body to perform complex movements if the foundations aren't there? That's what this routine builds. If you catch yourself compensating, don't force it. Make the circle smaller until you regain control. These movements take time. They're slow on purpose. And for every movement, imagine that you're moving through water, not air. Slow, controlled resistance. No forcing. Now, we're starting with the spine. When we move through the spine, don't think about it as one piece. Now, I want you to imagine that there's a string attached to each single segment of the spine. You are moving one segment at a time. If you lose that awareness, slow down and make that movement smaller. Point being, you want to be very intentional with what we're doing here. Now, let's get started. Starting with the cervical car, we're going to draw the biggest circle leading with our chin. Make sure you isometrically contract about 10 to 30%, butt shoulder width apart, and keep everything stable. And the only thing moving is my chin toward my chest. Once we get there, we start to rotate up and around the shoulder into extension, leaning with our eyes and chin as we look up to the ceiling and rotate on over to the other shoulder, leading with the chin and the eyes until we get to the shoulder and back to where we started. Watch for compensation. Don't tuck the ear into the shoulder. Don't spill the hips back or forward or side bend while doing this. Even if it happens, just make the circle smaller. Next is the spine. Cross your arms across your shoulders. Then you're going to start and lead with the elbows, appreciating each vertebral body going into flexion
As you get into full flexion, you should feel all your abdomen fire up. Start to bend sideways, leading with your shoulders and elbows, and come around, up and over into extension. When you hit full extension, start to side bend into rotation, up and over, leading with the elbows but not moving on. Go into flexion, around where we started. Be aware of compensations when doing the spine car. Watch for your hips not to spill forward, backward, or sideways. It should just be one fluid movement around the spine. If you need to go smaller, better, as long as you're in control, without the compensations. Spine, we're going to the scapula. For this, we're going to be using the instinct of our pocket to kind of help with the motion of the scapula. To this position, we're going to go ahead and shrug our shoulder and use the palm of our hand to draw the biggest circle we can, going into a circle, up and around the pocket. In reverse, we're going to do up and over and draw that same circle up and around the pocket. Watch out for compensation. We should not be moving our neck. We should not be arching our spine or bending at the elbow. Next is the shoulder. So for the shoulder, we're going to go ahead and start in midline with an open palm across the body. We're going to make sure that we keep that elbow extended and really draw the biggest circle, leading with our hand up. As we work here at end range, we're going to start to twist the hand out and then back around into extension. And then meeting with our pocket and our palm facing up. We're going to go ahead and repeat the same process. Again, keeping that elbow extended and kind of leading and drawing the biggest circle we can with our hand. And as you see, you're going to have a natural tendency to kind of open your palm and twist back the way you came from as we start to go up and around from the starting position. Watch out for compensation. When doing this, we should not be hiking the shoulder. There should be no bending of the elbow. Also, no lower back arching or trunk rotation. Next is the elbow. We're going to go ahead and start with an open palm, elbow extended, and you go ahead and keep everything stable. No bending of the wrist, no using the shoulder. And really just drive that all the way up into end range. Once we get to end range, we go ahead and flip the palm, still with an open hand, and come back down. And then repeat, flip, and come back down. Watch for compensation. Don't tuck the ear into the shoulder. Don't spill the hips back or forward or side bend while doing this. Now let's move on to the wrist. So go ahead and bend one elbow at 90, and with the opposite hand, you go ahead and grab the wrist. So lead with the fingers, draw the biggest circle up and around for the control articular rotation. Stop and then go on the opposite way. Now, with the wrist car, you may notice that the elbow wants to bend when doing it. You also might see the shoulder want to bend to do a wrist movement. Just make sure you hold everything static, hold the wrist in position, and you're only moving the space you actually have. Again, this is going to take time to build more awareness, but appreciate the compensations we've seen in Mobility IQ. Next is the shoulder. So for the shoulder, we're going to go ahead and start in midline with an open palm across the body. We're going to make sure that we keep that elbow extended and really draw the biggest circle, leading with our hand up. As we work here at end range, we're going to start to twist the hand out and then back around into extension. And then meeting with our pocket and our palm facing up. We're going to go ahead and repeat the same process. Again, keeping that elbow extended and kind of leading and drawing the biggest circle we can with our hand. And as you've seen, you're going to have a natural tendency to kind of open your palm and twist back the way you came from as we start to go up and around from the starting position. Watch out for compensation. When doing this, we should not be hiking the shoulder. There should be no bending of the elbow. Also, no lower back arching or trunk rotation. Next is the hip car. And I would argue, out of all the cars we did today, this one's the hardest one. Why? Because we have the most compensations at our hip. In person, we can discuss how we can make this movement individualized to you. For the sake of this video, I'm going to brace myself against this ladder and pin my hip against the ball. So I have my hip pinned against the Bosey ball. And with that same length, I am making sure that I'm extending and bracing myself with the opposite hand onto the ladder. And I'm going to go ahead and guide my head over and my foot over the other. This is my starting position. Alright, gain my intention again. And then I'm going to start to gravitate my knee into hip flexion and drawing the biggest circle that I can, leading with my knee up and over, rotating the knee and outward and back into extension, and then completing the circle, leading with the knee again, back to midline. Resetting, catching my bearings. Starting in this position, I'm bracing myself up again, keeping myself at 10 to 30%, and I'm leading again with my knee in and out and back into extension from midline as I'm extremely rotating back to come across into hip flexion and go back to where I started. Next, we're moving on to the knee car. Now this one, just like the hip, is a lot harder to learn. Why? It's hard to dissociate our hip from the knee or ankle. We tend to compensate with our hip or ankle to do a knee movement because our knee was made for stability, not really mobility. So we have to relearn what the knee actually does. Most think that the knee is just the hinge joint, but there's actually a rotation at the knee. So the point of interest is going to be the shin. We see the shin moving in and out. We are doing the correct movement. So for this, we're going to bear up against the ground, opposite leg straight, and then hug our leg up against our chest. And with just external rotation, it should be very subtle, but I am focusing on moving the shin outward and back out. Move the shin inward and then back out. So you always want to focus on exploring terminal range. Next is the ankle car. So we're going to go ahead and hold on to the end of our ankle just before the bone. And we're going to draw the biggest circle leading with our big toe. And going the other way around. That's probably one of the easier ones. But you may see that this side here might be weaker. Why? Because we wear high heels, we wear things that keep our toe flexed down and inward. So that means as a result of that, we can focus more upon this part of the circle. But here it is, full action. Next is going to be toes. Yes, we do those too. Due to modern lifestyle and shoes, we lose our ability to really sense how our toes fill in space. So we work on those too. We're going to focus on one foot at a time, but you have the choice of doing both at the same time. So leading with one foot first, I'm going to go ahead and use the big toe and go up as much as I can and then down. Up and back down. Up and back down. Then we're going to go ahead and switch to the other toes. Big toe down and then the rest up. Repeat a couple times. And then I'm going to move into piano keys. Like me, I need some work on these. you'd really appreciate to really learn to move each one by itself as we start to move on piano keys.